Behind enemy lines. Stories of military spies and saboteurs. War is a brutal and unforgiving actuality that has shaped human history for centuries. In the warmness of battle, troopers combat and die for their country, pushed using fierce loyalty to their cause. But what takes place when loyalty is become on its head? When troopers come to be spies and saboteurs, infiltrating enemy strains and risking their lives in the shadows. These are the testimonies of the courageous guys and girls who have operated behind enemy lines, gathering indispensable intelligence, sabotaging enemy infrastructure, and disrupting the enemy's plans. In this video, we will explore the terrific feats of Navy espionage and sabotage that have become the tide of combat and the great humans who carried them out. So buckle up, due to the fact we're about to go in behind enemy lines. Espionage and sabotage have been part of a military method for heaps of years, in a relationship again to historic civilizations like Egypt, China, and Greece. In the 5th century BC, the Greek historian Herodotus wrote about how the Persians used secret retailers to accumulate genius on their enemies. Similarly, in historic China, the use of spies to acquire data on enemy actions was once a frequent tactic. Over time, espionage and sabotage have emerged as an increasing number of sophisticated. In the 20th century, these methods have been used on a giant scale in the course of each world war, and have endured to be essential in current warfare. During World War I, for example, the British Secret Intelligence Service, SIS, recruited troopers to work as spies at the back of enemy lines, gathering statistics on German army operations. The SIS additionally planted dealers in Germany and other countries. They used them to acquire genius on enemy plans. As warfare has evolved, so too have espionage and sabotage tactics. Today, militaries use a variety of high-tech equipment to accumulate talent and disrupt enemy operations, which include drones, cyber attacks, and digital eavesdropping. While this equipment is effective, the primary standards of espionage and sabotage continue to be the same: to collect records and disrupt enemy operations barring being detected. One of the most profitable espionage operations on record used to be the British double-cross system, which used to be used at some stage in World War II to turn Nazi spies into double agents. The device used to be run by way of the British Intelligence Service, which recognized German spies working in Britain and grew to become them into double sellers by providing them immunity in exchange for their cooperation. The double-cross system was once quite effective, as the British had been in a position to manage almost all German spies running in Britain. This allowed them to feed the Germans false information, along with plans for pretend military operations, that would lead the Germans to make strategic mistakes. The double-cross system played an enormous position in the success of the D-Day invasion of Normandy, as the Germans have been satisfied that the Allies would land at Calais, alternatively then in Normandy. This diversionary tactic allowed the Allies to trap the Germans off protect and impervious a critical beachhead in France. During World War II, the United States embarked on a top-secret undertaking to enhance the world's first atomic bomb. Known as the Manhattan Project, the effort worried hundreds of scientists, engineers, and aid personnel working in secret labs throughout the country. Despite the tight protection surrounding the project, the Soviet Union was once in a position to infiltrate the Manhattan Project and accumulate brains on its progress. Soviet spies, together with physicist Klaus Fuchs and Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, exceeded facts about the assignment to Soviet intelligence cooperatives. The extent of Soviet espionage at some point during the Manhattan Project was once now not entirely regarded till after the war. However, it had huge implications for the Cold War that followed. The United States was once no longer the only country with atomic weapons, and the Soviet Union used to be in a position to use the know-how won from the Manhattan Project to enhance its nuclear arsenal. During World War II, the French resistance performed an integral position in disrupting German army operations and helping the Allied fighting effort. Made up of French residents who adversarial the German occupation, the resistance engaged in a variety of sabotage activities, such as blowing up bridges and instruct tracks, reducing conversation lines, and assassinating German officials. The resistance was once in a position to raise these things to do generally due to its decentralized structure, which made it challenging for the Germans to track down and put off man or woman members. The resistance additionally acquired aid from the Allied powers, who supplied weapons, supplies, and intelligence. While the resistance was once now not capable of single-handedly defeating the German occupation, it performed a vast function in the eventual Allied victory. Its moves disrupted German-provided traces and communications, slowed down army operations, and helped to undermine the morale of German troops. During the Cold War, the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, performed a fundamental function in gathering genius on Soviet things to do and disrupting Soviet operations. One of the most well-known CIA operations used to be the U-2 undercover agent aircraft program, which worried about flying high-altitude planes over Soviet territory to collect talent on army installations and different targets. The CIA additionally engaged in a variety of covert operations, consisting of the overthrow of overseas governments and the assassination of overseas leaders. These things to do had been distinctly controversial, and many have criticized the CIA's strategies and tactics. Despite these controversies, the CIA was once capable to acquire treasured brains on Soviet things to do for the duration of the Cold War. These statistics used to be used to forestall Soviet nuclear attacks, disrupt Soviet Navy operations, and guide U.S. Navy operations around the world. One of the most profitable Navy talent operations in the latest records was once the hunt for Osama bin Laden, the chief of Al-Qaeda and the mastermind in the back of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. The hunt for bin Laden started in the wake of the attacks, as U.S. talent corporations labored to music down these responses. Over quite a few years, Army genius companies had been capable to piece collectively facts on bin Laden's whereabouts, sooner or later finding him in a compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. In May 2011, U.S. Navy SEALs launched a raid on the compound, killing bin Laden and various of his partners. The success of the operation used to be due in giant sections to the painstaking work of Army genius analysts, who sifted through heaps of portions of records to piece collectively an image of bin Laden's whereabouts. This operation confirmed the electricity of Navy talent in disrupting terrorist networks and defending countrywide security. As science continues to evolve, so too do the techniques used in Army espionage and sabotage. Drones, cyber attacks, and digital surveillance are simply some of the equipment that is being used by way of militaries around the world to collect genius and disrupt enemy operations. In the future, we can count on seeing even greater state-of-the-art equipment and systems being used in Army operations. Advances in synthetic intelligence, quantum computing, and biotechnology are probably to play a foremost function in shaping the future of military intelligence and sabotage. For example, researchers are presently working on creating AI structures that can analyze good-sized quantities of statistics and make predictions about future events. These structures would be used to remember possible threats and expect enemy movements, permitting Navy forces to take preemptive action. Similarly, biotechnology possibly plays a developing function in Army talent and sabotage. Researchers are working on creating sensors that can discover organic agents, such as pathogens or toxins, and alert Army forces to the presence of these agents. This ought to be beneficial in detecting organic weapons, which are a developing situation in the latest world. Finally, cyber combat is probably to proceed to play a predominant position in Army espionage and sabotage. Cyber assaults can be used to disrupt enemy communications, sabotage infrastructure, and steal treasured information. As the world will become increasingly related and reliant on technology, the conceivable for cyber assaults to reason injury and disruption is solely probable to grow. Military espionage and sabotage have performed a huge position in shaping the root of history, from the Revolutionary War to the current day. While the techniques and equipment used in Army brain and sabotage have evolved, the fundamental aim has remained the same: to acquire a benefit over the enemy and shield countrywide security. As we appear to the future, it is clear that the Navy brain and sabotage will proceed to play a necessary position in shaping the direction of global struggle and shaping the world we stay in. We hope you have gained a deeper understanding of the history and impact of these important figures throughout history. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about the history of military intelligence and espionage, be sure to subscribe to our channel, The History Hub. We regularly post new videos on a wide range of historical topics, from ancient civilizations to modern warfare. By subscribing, you'll be the first to know when we post new videos, and you'll have access to a wealth of fascinating historical content. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you in the next video.